How's it going, everybody? I'm the BTC Reaper. My goal on this channel is to teach you how to reap the rewards of trading, whether price is going up or down. Over on Dixie for the daily, we are indecisive, so this really didn't do much for crypto. Crypto did pump up, despite Dixie's indecisiveness. Remember, we're watching for a red candle here that would push us down, but we do have things like CPI coming soon, so we could see some temporary correlation. Remember, usually around CPI, if it looks good, we do see a little bit more correlation, and eventually we may see closer correlation as risk on assets become more attractive to investors. So I would watch VWAP is pulling back though, momentum is rounding, money flow does want to break down. So if we continue to reject here and we push down with the red candle, then we likely will see that VWAP break bearish, momentum would fall. You would want to watch that in the 1 hour. Right now, the VWAP is bullish, so that is positive. That could help give us a bounce if that yellow wave stays above the neutral. If that happens, momentum, that blue wave, can push forward and money flow can stay in the green, showing that we do have more buying pressure. But if that VWAP curls here and makes a lower high, then follows with lower lows, we could see momentum reject and money flow would break. So that's going to be what you would want to watch for any downside momentum. Over on Bitcoin dominance for the daily, if we zoom out, we have our fixed range volume profile. You can see we have a lot of volume in this area. We have been kind of range locked for quite some time. We are filling a gap, showing how those gaps do tend to fill. They do have an 80% likelihood, and we are pulling back though. So if we do reject, we could still come back up and make a candle body close in that range. Our stochastic does want to pull back, RSI wants to push forward, momentum is trying to bounce, VWAP is staying bullish, and money flow is starting to bounce as well. So this does look positive, and this could mean Bitcoin could start to outperform our altcoins. We did see total go up by 2.5, and Bitcoin did go up by almost 6%, so it is outperforming right now. If we see that VWAP break bullish and hold, that trend could likely continue, but remember, that could help lead altcoins higher. Eventually, I do think altcoins would outperform Bitcoin at some point in time. Remember, usually there is an alt season where altcoins do their own thing. Over on total, our VWAP does have higher lows. That is, that is positive, as that makes us want to break that neutral. If we break that neutral and we get a higher high on that yellow wave, then we can see momentum push forward. That green dot does show it does want to break forward and that the VWAP is trying to break through. So if the VWAP stays bullish here, our money flow can push forward and we can start to break toward the top of our channel into that golden pocket, that blue zone. Remember, click that link if you're unfamiliar with this golden pocket and our Fibonacci retracement zone. We cover multiple things in that video and it's all 5-minute short videos. But if that total does end up weakening and rejecting, I would watch. Over on Bitcoin futures. We are doing pretty good here as well. We do have a higher low, so this could be positive as this could reduce the chances of seeing this rising channel. At this point, we could delete the channel, but just keep it in the back of your mind. Ideally, we would reject this point control and still push down to fill our gap, because remember, they do have an 80% likelihood to fill. So if we continue further up, I would warn against getting rejected by that 70K again, and we could still stay range bound here. Stochastic does want to push forward, VWAP is trying to gain strength, momentum does want to push forward, so money flow is starting to gain strength. If that VWAP can break bullish and hold, we will see momentum break forward and money flow can go in the green. That would show that people are buying more than they are selling. But in order for that to happen, we do need these lower time frames to hold bullish and stay bullish. Right now, the VWAP on the 1 hour is starting to pull back. It does want to break that neutral. Money flow is pulling back. If that VWAP continues lower, momentum will start to round away. We do have a double red dot showing momentum does want to break down. If that momentum continues lower with VWAP, money flow will break down, going from green to red, showing that we are getting more selling pressure. And if that holds on our lower time frames, then it's likely we would start to break away. I would watch for a bounce off of that 300 EMA. That would be the ideal move, because you don't want to just straight shoot up. Remember, if you straight shoot up, you are going to come crashing down at some point. So ideally, we would get some bearish momentum, retrace to our 300 EMA, get a bounce, and then continue further. Our stochastic does want to pull back, momentum is rounding, and that momentum does have a double red dot again, so watch that close, as that VWAP does want to break down. If that VWAP stays bearish here, momentum will push down, and that money flow will weaken. If that money flow stays bearish for several hours, remember that will weaken our higher time frames. Over on Bitcoin for the daily, we are trying to continue with our double bottom, but we are trying to get rejected right around here, so I would exercise caution as like around where you would expect that next leg up to be. We are moving up pretty quickly too, so I would warn against that, but we could be seeing a little bit of retracement to help against that quick drop up. So our RSI does want to push forward, stochastic is gaining strength, that VWAP has higher lows, momentum does want to curl, and money flow is staying bullish. So the daily does look positive. Watch for the lower time frames to stay bullish. Over on the 1 hour, we did get a bit of a pullback after hitting that 63k. So if we make a bounce in this range, that could be positive. That would be just above that 300 EMA, and then we could get that bullish run and get higher highs with higher lows. Watch for them to not connect. If they do not connect, then we can create a bullish continuation. That bullish continuation would be what would take us to that neckline, and then potentially give us that break forward. Again, you would want to watch for that neckline break. So if you're trading on the neckline, you would watch just the same as this resistance. You would watch for a break above either zone, a retest of that zone, and then a bounce continuation forward to make your move forward. So over on the 1 hour, stochastic is pulling back, momentum is rounding. Our momentum does have a double red dot. VWAP is starting to break down, so I would watch. That does want to weaken that momentum, and that momentum is rounding because that double red dot does signal it wants to lose further strength. Money flow does want to pull back, so I would exercise caution. We could continue further down, but we do look positive. This long upper shadow candle may be bearish if followed by a strong red candle, but if followed by a strong green candle, we can make a rounding bottom, push forward, and get that higher low. So watch for the next couple candles very close. They will kind of determine which way we go. Over on graph for the daily, we are trying to break our 16,316, kind of getting stopped out here as well. Again, we do have that double bottom possibility here as well. That could try to push us to that 300 EMA. Our side does want to push up. VWAP is trying to break forward with higher lows. Momentum does want to push up. Money flow is trying to break bullish, so we are pretty positive here, much like everything else. Over on the 1 hour, we did retest our 300 EMA. We are trying to push forward, but we have a long upper shadow candle. Again, watch the next couple candles. If we get red candles from here, we can break that EMA, continue lower, and see further bearish sell-off. However, if we see a strong green candle and break above that support resistance of our 16,316, and then we hold, then we can continue further up. Remember, this range right here is going to be a gap, and that will be a range where we stick in as well, because we do have a few drops from that area. So that is the area of resistance shown by those candle body drops, shown by how we reject in this range. So that's kind of what you're looking for, where candle bodies open and close. Again, more on that on the Mastering the Trade series, so click that link in that comment. Over on Ankr for the daily, we are starting to see a push forward, much like graph, but we are above our resistance, unlike much of the other coins, so this is positive. VWAP does want to break forward, momentum is gaining strength, money flow is trying to run up, stochastic's gaining strength, RSI is pushing forward, so we do look positive. Watch if we can get above the blue and yellow EMA. If we can, then we may make that break to our 2883. Over on the 1 hour, we are retesting our 300 EMA, but we did lose it. So I would warn, we do have some gaps to the downside. Remember, gaps have an 80% likelihood to fill, so we could drop down toward that 2606 and toward that 2587. If we don't bounce and make a higher low and then get back above our support resistance area, if we do see a rejection here, that is, then we would see further bearish momentum. Ideally, we would see that fill. We don't want to leave that gap for later, because remember, that could mean we would run up and then drop down very quickly later. Because remember, gaps have an 80% likelihood to fill, and if you fill it later or sooner, that's better than running up like Bitcoin has. We ran up, then we had a gap below us, and then we came crashing down. That's pretty much what's kept us gridlocked, is we're not really filling our gaps too well. So over on XRP for the daily, we are trying to break away from our bearish scenario here, so watch for a bounce off the top and a continuation above 54. That would give you the go-ahead to see a break toward that 57 and see bullish continuation with our flag. VWAP does want to break forward, momentum is trying to gain strength, and money flow does want to break forward as well, so that is positive. Watch if that VWAP can stay bullish on lower time frames. Alright, so cats again, RSI are pushing forward. So the 1 hour or the 1 day does look pretty positive. The 1 hour, we did get our bounce off the top. We are getting higher highs. Watch for this to continue with higher lows that do not connect. If they do not connect, then we can continue forward. If they do end up connecting, we can make a rising channel, and rising channels do break us down. Again, we cover that in that series. Momentum does want to break down. Stochastic is dropping away. RSI is pulling back. VWAP is starting to break down. So watch if it holds in the bearish territory here. If it does, we're likely going to continue lower and see that money flow break into the red. If that money flow breaks into the red and holds, then we will see higher time frames start to weaken as well. Over on ALGO for the daily, we do have that rounding bottom. So this is what you kind of want to see on those other coins. And then you would ideally see another green candle after this to give you what's called confirmation. If you wait for confirmation, you have less chances to get ruined, but it's not a guarantee. So one example here, if you were waited for confirmation on this rounding bottom, you would have seen a red candle. That red candle could have said we have indecision in the market and we could reject, and that did happen. Here we had that rounding bottom, we got our green candle, then we got a second green candle, and that was our confirmation that broke us above our resistance. Stochastic is starting to pull back. VWAP does have higher highs. Watch for higher lows. Momentum does want to break forward. So that money flow is staying in the green. We need lower time frames to push and stay in the green though, because if they end up breaking in the red and holding, then we will see the daily start to weaken over a prolonged period of time. Over on the 1 hour, stochastic is starting to round away. RSI is starting to pull back. Momentum is rounding. That VWAP is breaking down, and the money flow is in the bullish territory, doing pretty good here. So if that VWAP can make a bounce and break toward the bullish territory, we could prevent momentum and money flow from breaking. However, if that VWAP stays under this zero area, we will see momentum start to break down, money flow would round, and then we would see another pullback. Now for our other coin, DAG here, if you have any other requests, drop them in the chat. Remember, we'll cover whatever you ask for. Over on DAG, we are pushing forward. We do look positive. This is a continuation off the top of our channel. This is a bit of a confirmation, so we could see a round forward here, but we do have a reversal arrow kind of flashing here, so exercise caution, because that reversal arrow does show we could end up pulling back, much like we did back here. I don't personally trade on those arrows because they're a little bit dodgy in my opinion. Over on the daily though, VWAP is pushing forward, momentum is pushing up. We do have a green dot and money flow is trying to gain strength. So if that VWAP continues with these higher highs and higher lows, momentum and money flow can continue forward and we will continue our break forward. Over on the 1 hour, we are above our 300 EMA. We did come down for a retest after breaking very quick, and now we are trying to push forward. So I would watch if we can break above that 27. If we can, then we could continue further. Over on the momentum, we are starting to round away. RSI wants to make a bounce, that stochastic wants to bounce, and VWAP is trying to break forward. If that VWAP can break forward and hold, money flow could break into the green, and then we would continue our run up with these higher highs. Remember, watch for higher highs and higher lows that do not connect to create a bullish continuation. If the highs and lows do connect, then we will create a rising channel, and that rising channel would break you down. More on that link. Thank you for watching. I appreciate all of you.